Assalamu alaikum everyone, how's it going? In this video we're going to be going over the permissions and the ownership of a Linux file or a folder. What is actually a permission and an ownership, how we can know the current state or the current permissions or ownership of a file or a folder, and how we can actually manipulate them. So to do so, we're going to be using two commands. The first one is chmod, which is going to change the permissions over a file and a folder, or chown, that's going to be changing the ownership of a file or a folder. So actually we're going to be starting with chmod, as I said, and instead of me explaining the commands here right here in the terminal, there's a cool website, which is this website actually right here, which actually kind of explains everything with an interface and with as you can see with tables. So it's actually ease the process. So before I actually start, let's actually go create a new file here. So touch file.txt, for example, or let's just leave it as an extension, and now just hit the LSL flag, and okay, this is an old file, and this is the file that we have just created right now. And as you can see here, it has some kind of thing at the beginning. This is actually the permissions of this file. So what is this? Let's actually look at this site over here, and as you can see right here, there's an in-depth actually explanation of what is this. So as you can see, each letter right here explains something. So the R stands for read, and the W stands for write, and the X stands for execution. And as you can see, every three letters is like in a category or in a group together, and the first three letters are for the user. So this is the permission that the user can do, the owner of the file or the directory have on this file or a folder. Okay, so in our case this is actually a directory because we have the letter D, which is for directories. As you can see on the terminal, I don't have anything right here. I only have D because I don't have D because it's not a directory. And if we have actually a symbolic link, it's going to be an L at the beginning. So we go back here. Actually this recording is lagging, so now it's working fine. So let's continue. As you can see, this is also an explanation here by numbers. So each letter from these permissions is like can be represented by a number. So the read stands for 4, and the write stands with the 2, and the X for 1. So if you want to actually specify the permissions of a file using this form, or you can actually use it like the 755, which is the same thing. So we can actually decode the numbers to know the letters, and like to understand what's the permissions of this file. So this here are just kind of some explanations. What is this? So if we have just 3 dashes, this means there is no permission. This is only execute. This is write. This is write and execute. It's a very cool site actually. So I'm just gonna leave link to this site down in the description. And for now, I'm just gonna go and continue playing with the files and with the commands. So here I'm gonna change the command of this, change the mod of this file. First, I have to specify the permission that I want to change. So by the way, here we looked at this option. We have to actually change it. We can whether do it like this, for example, write 755 in this file, and now to see the changes. We've actually right now added execution to the main user. Okay, and actually for each user, actually we've added an execution for all users, and we remove the write access from the group. Okay, so the first one is the user, the owner, and then the group of this file, of the folder, and everyone else. Okay, so whether I can do it this way, now let's change it to something else, but instead of using the numbers, I'm gonna use the symbolic syntax, which is actually specifying letters, which is right here. So the letter U stands for user, G for group, O for others, and all, and A for all, like for everyone. Okay, as like Hugo. So if you type UGO, which is Hugo, it's the same thing if you type A. So let me change, for example, let me actually remove the execution that we have just added right now. So for this, I'm just gonna type A, which is for everyone, and then you can actually type plus or minus or equal. It depends. Actually, here is the add, remove, or set. So remove removes something, but just like just obvious, like set the permissions to the permissions that you have passed to the parameter. So in our case, I'm just going to be removing, and I'm going to be removing the X. I'm going to remove the execution for this file. Now let's ls back, and as you can see, I've already removed it. So it's actually very nice to work with this change mod. And also one more cool thing, if we actually have a directory, for example, let's call it like folder, make dir, and let's look at this directory. Okay, and as you can see, it has these following permissions. What if we have file inside, for example, let's say folder, I don't know, like maybe like file, let's just call it file, and then print the okay, yep, actually I've printed these permissions. What if I want to actually change the permissions of this folder and everything inside? For this we're going to be using recursion, so I'm going to type change mod, and then for example let's set read access for everyone, so this is just 3/4, and then you specify the folder of the file. But in our case, like I said, I want to change the folder and everything inside, so I'm just going to type folder and add the big R, like capital R flag, to recursive do this, and hit enter. And as you can see, permission denied. Why is that? As folder, well, I believe like we need sudo, but okay, maybe because it's recursive. Now let's have a look again. We've actually changed everything. Okay, now I see. Let's now do everything with sudo because I've changed the permissions of this folder. And let's also add here recursive so that we see everything. So as you can see, the folder itself has read, and the file inside of it also has read. We couldn't actually run it because I actually removed the execution from all of them. So let me just add it again. Let me just add this executions. Now hit enter. Now I believe I can access it. Yep, as you can see, I cannot change anything because I don't have the right access. So this basically everything about the change mod is just very simple, and this website is just awesome. It's going to help you with everything, and as I said, the link is going to be down in the description below. So now let's go to the second part, which is the permissions. So for permissions, let's look for example at the file. This is the owner of the file, and this is the group. We can change them using the change ownership. Okay, so before we do so, let me just add a new user and call it like user1. User1 already exists. I need sudo for this. Okay, now I've created a new user that's called user, and let me for example change the ownership. And by the way, this new user comes with a group that's also called user. So let's change mod, change ownership of the following this file text, and set the owner to user, and the group, let's leave for now as Ahmed. So to change the ownership, you just specify the username and the group for the file's name. So we said we're gonna file the text. Yep, or permission permitted because we usually need sudo for that boy. And now let's do the same thing again. And as you can see, the file text user has been changed to user. And if you want to change the group, you can actually type it like this, and you specify the user. If you want to change both, like change the user, change the owner and the group, you just specify both of them, okay, and you separate them with a column. Okay, if you're just gonna change the group in like this, you just do this. Now we have the user and the file text. Let's do the same, but just in one step on this file text. So for this, I'm gonna type sudo change owner, and I'm gonna type user column user and file. Now if we look again, the ownership has changed on this user, and the ownership has changed, like and the group name also has changed. So this is everything actually about the change own command. It also has the recursive feature of the change mod. So this actually, guys, everything. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.